Hello, hello. Welcome back into our halftime news report. Here that we have our local resident man who yells at clouds here on the line. It is Weatherman Goes? Weatherman Goes. Let's give it to Weatherman Goes.
All right. Thank you, cool cats over at the broadcast team. Here, Weatherman Goes to give you your weekly report on the Academy and Proving Grounds weather. Sweeping the nation. Big story right now. We actually have Proving Grounds coming up 1 week. So make sure that you're sticking with us because we got the full report right here. If you haven't been watching, this is the bracket. Starting next week, we got a violent storm rolling through with the play-ins happening where we'll already be saying goodbye to 4 teams at the very start of the tournament. So let's take a look at the different regions and how the weather's looking like. Oh, yeah, yes.
Thanks, but before that,
wait, my name is what? I don't think that the audience could hear you right there.
Sorry. Weather Mangas.
Yeah, Weather Mangas.
Seeing that your name is also the name of Japanese comics, could you use your microphone real quick on your hair? Perfect.
Thank you.
Making sure you
it was
get
in
out
my
of your
eyes a little bit. Yeah. That was actually helpful. I was just gonna work through it, because that's just the professionalism.
That's a professional. We love
That's a professional. Let's take a look at the regions right now. Okay, so this is how weather's shaping up on the West Coast here over in Academy land. We got Team Liquid Academy looking dominant up at the top of the standings, but this is where you really got to be watching out for, everybody, because this is the clump that's fighting for seeding implications going into it. But if you're checking out next week immediately, you can see all 4 of these teams playing in the play-in stage to start things off. And it's going to be hot, okay? If you're wondering what you should wear, you should be looking for short sleeves. You should be looking for maybe open-toed sandals, okay? That's my recommendation for you.
I'm just saying, FlyQuest is putting out a swimwear line as well. You might want to go check that out. FlyQuest.com/merch.
Hey, there you go.
Is it safe to show on broadcast? Should I ask?
Maybe. I don't know. Producers, I'm going to let Kelsey decide that one because I think it's probably okay.
Wait.
All right.
No.
We'll maybe take a look at that one then to get some outfit ideas for all of you at home. Let's take a look at amateur now and the weather happening over here. So this is more on the east side. If you're living in the kind of northern central North America, this is where you'll find a lot of this weather right here. Obviously, 100 Thieves next coming in looking like the dominant team from amateur. But remember what we said last spring. We thought the same thing would happen and the heat wave just didn't last, baby. Also, I have to say, if they're hot, if you're hot, then they're hot. So make sure if you find any stray kittens out there, bring them in, okay? We got to make sure that we're taking care of the strays out there, because it's gonna be some wild weather.
So I have a question for you. You said,
yes.
You said Academy Land. What's the ecosystem like in Academy Land?
Well, it's I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a lot of concrete. It's kind of like a more suburban vibe.
Suburban. That sounds more like an urban vibe.
Well, it's a little bit of both. A little bit of here, a little bit of there. The primary diet of the animals that live there, mostly boba, and a little bit of ramen as well. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
you should visit sometime. It's fantastic.
The other important question we have with our mangas as somebody who lives here on the West Coast, which coast are you feeling is going to be hotter come Proving Grounds?
Oh, I think it's going to be no questions, no bars. Top 8 Academy teams, baby. I think that's what's going to happen going into Proving Grounds right here. But 100 Thieves next, they might have a good shot at it. Also, poor went out for Supernova, missing 2 Proving Grounds in a row. Heart of Amateur not doing too hot right now. But that's your weather report, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. I'll send it back over to the broadcast to finish up the halftime show.
Thank you, Weather Mangas.
Thank you for the weather report there. Weather mangas, mangoes, tangos, whatever you want to be called, I don't care. But you know what?
Pangos.
Yeah, tangos, mangoes, flamingos. Let's see, what are other things that can rhyme? I don't care. I already got bored. Anyways.
Weather congas.
No, I got bored.
It's too late. Okay,
it's too late.
Well,
it's too late.
As we already saw, right, we do got the 10 Academy seeds, or the 10 amateur seeds already locked in as who is going to be playing here in Proving Grounds. And we definitely have a couple of front runners, right? The obvious first one is 100 Thieves next. This is the squad that has had so many powerful players playing in Academy right now. Right. Busio, Tenacity, Gamsu, Jan had an opportunity to play on this. I'm sure I'm missing a couple others. Dark Wings is on there now, and Sanity had a little bit of time to play with them. There are so many the strong members coming through 100 Thieves next, and hopefully they can make another deep run this time.
Hello, guys. Sorry, I had to dip out there for a second. I didn't realize that we're coming back live.
I thought we got rid of you.
Yeah, I didn't have anything planned for this halftime show, so sorry about that. We're just going to talk about the game.
Yeah, I thought we were saved having to talk to you for at least the halftime show.
Well, see, the best part, Magical, is that this is my job, and this is your job, and we're paid to talk to each other. But once that's done, we can go back to hating each other, okay? And we don't have to smile. We don't have to chuckle at each other's jokes. All this goes away. I love it. I love it. But with that said, we actually do
anyway,
have a little
this weekend?
Yeah. Josh, you want to come hang out sometime?
Yeah,
my couch is open.
I'm literally moving closer to you, and I'm not even invited.
Yeah. We actually are going to hang out this Saturday for anybody who might have believed that we do hate each other. But with that said, we are going to play a quick little game here before we get ready for pick and ban of game 2 that we call Speed Run, where I have a replay loaded, and one of you has to explain the replay to the other using no league terms. You can't say anything like kill, anything like champion names, player names, positions on the map, unless it's very general, right? Magical, you're putting your blindfold on. Perfect.
I'm gonna challenge you to a new edition.
Okay.
Where we are both blindfolded.
Oh yes.
Both of you are blindfolded.
I've said this before. Can I be the one who tries to guess what it is?
I mean, sure, we could try. All right. I don't know what's gonna happen here. You can hear it at least.
Yeah.
Roll the replay, I guess. We're gonna try a double blind speed run.
So this is where I'm gonna try to tell Josh. Okay, so as you can see, Josh, you can very clearly see that we have
we're at Summoner's Rift.
No, can't say that. Let's not let it be said.
Bad.
So you got a lot of people that they're corralled against something. I don't even get audio for this one, so it makes it a lot harder.
Yeah, I just realized that we don't have the audio.
I'm gonna just say, you know what? They're in the river. They're in the river. They're chilling. They're vibing. But then some people are not. Some people are having a really bad. Yeah, they're not vibing. In fact, it looks like they're just getting completely routed.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. Magical. The sound a river makes is whoosh whoosh. But the sound that they were actually make, it's kind of like a.
Oh, so they were on rock.
Oh, so I'm thinking that it was something to do with a turret.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess this was the top lane dive.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with too. Better to Rift Herald bot lane.
Let's roll the clip. Let's let them see what actually the clip was. It was just the last team fight. This was CLG's kind of last attempt. It was. They were close to actually picking up a kill onto Yuji right there. But then they just kind of get wiped afterwards. But like,
I can see.
Props to them being down 10k gold and still going for it.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely been seeing FlyQuest, right? They've been having a pretty dominant week thus far. Dignitas was not a challenge for them. They took down Immortals relatively cleanly yesterday, and this was also one of the most one-sided games we've seen come out of FlyQuest in quite a while. And I remember remarking on it halfway through the game, Kumo was all 5 of their deaths, but it was also him every single time, like, flashing forward to try and make a play and trade 1-for-1. And so, eventually, it just becomes this game of chicken for the rest of FlyQuest. Is like, is anybody else going to have to get reported after this game for inting? I mean, that's what I have to do with all my teammates if they're the only person who dies.
Wow, that's harsh words. Also, I'm just realizing now Magical still has the blindfold on right now. And keep it on, Magical, because we're going to run clip number 2. It's a really short one. So, because we're getting ready for pick and ban here shortly. So, Joshi, actually, I'm gonna let you actually watch this time if you want to.
Okay.
But we will also have audio, I believe. So, let's take a look at it. Whenever you're ready, take it away, production.
Okay. This was actually something that happens where
top lane dive.
The only person who died for one team died without trading.
Oh, without trading.
Well, I feel like trading is pretty close to a League of Legends term. I might have to deduct 2 points for that one. Magical, can you guess what it is, though?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all. I wonder why. And that was, in fact, the attempts to kill Kumo, where they did actually get him, and he did trade one back. But
so wait, I was right. That's what I said initially.
You know, you said dive under tower.
Dive under tower.
Right before the dive under tower.
It wasn't the dive.
But it sets up the dive under tower where Kumo absolutely pops off. So to go back to Joshi's point, Yeah, actually, let's run it again. Magical, you can peek through it.
All right.
Peek through the blinds. There you go.
Oh, it's this one.
one.
Okay. Yeah.
Turns out that there was a lot of deaths between Kumo and Jenkins this game, and even though FlyQuest coming away with the win, it definitely feels as though this was really back and forth in the top side. Unfortunately for CLG, it was the only part of the map that felt like it was back and forth because the rest of the map for FlyQuest was just winning.
They were 3-3 at like 8 minutes in the game. It was absolutely.
I think it was 3-3-1
action
for Kumo,
Kale,
and then 3-3-0 for Jenkins.
It was the highest action Kale lane I think I've ever seen in my life. The fact that Kumo flashes in to try and kill Jenkins, who stayed around to try and bait him, and Josh, you were like, "Oh, look, Triple's coming! Oh, hey, Kevin's there! They're gonna get him!" And then, okay, I guess Kumo just gets a solo kill. Trades back, doesn't even give any assist gold over. So, hey, FlyQuest Academy continue to scale. Another win here means that they could maybe take that 4th seed away from Dignitas Academy, depending on what happens in their series against Immortals later on. CLG Academy still looking to tie this series, so they will own the head-to-head against FlyQuest Academy. We'll send it over to Pick and Ban for game number 2 to see who's walking away with the win.
We'll also see if FlyQuest do get a full sweep this week, a 6-0 in our final super week of the split, as well as our final week in general. So there's a lot for FlyQuest, a lot of pride going into Proving Grounds.
Yeah.
You talked about momentum. You talked about how they can kind of feel where they're drifting or not, and they all are drifting together as a unit. Even Kumo, with how aggressively he played, was great because it helped set up the rest of his team.
Yeah, and while we look at this a little bit, let's make sure that the audience is on the same page as us when it comes to the rest of the standings for the rest of the day, right? FlyQuest, with this one win over CLG, will still not overtake CLG if CLG wins this game. And at the same time, now that FlyQuest have won their first game, Dignitas has to win at least one in order to stay ahead of both FlyQuest and CLG. And if FlyQuest wins both games and Dignitas wins both games, we will see that it will be Dignitas, FlyQuest, CLG. But if CLG wins one, CLG then FlyQuest, and then Dignitas, it's up to them. If they go 2-0, they're going to be our 4th seed. If they go 0-2, they're going to end up being our 6th seed. So now that we've kind of looked at all the different opportunities for these two teams to play, we are seeing a bit of a difference, right? As FlyQuest, they're not be going with the Viego that got a lot of power from Yuji. It's
also the lock-in of Aphelios and Nautilus for the bot lane. Much more that engaged kind of champion that we were saying that Breezy tends to perform well on, plus more of a traditional marksman for Meech, something that he also does really well on. The only problem is it's now answered by Tomo and Diamond getting an incredibly safe lane.
Remember when this was the only champions ever played? It was Zarya, Phalos, Jinx that was dominating the meta back in spring. We're kind of seeing a bit of a return to that, the same kind of support as well. Taliyah kind of the only thing that's out of place from what we were seeing in the first half of the split. And even the Corki that looks to get locked in for triple, something that he's been playing quite a bit throughout this season, will just lend itself to that. And instead, the Gwen also feels like it's in the same category of, hey, let's go back to the spring meta.
Right. It pretty much feels like deja vu. The only real difference is Taliyah, because obviously the mini rework she got over the break has made her a little bit different than we even saw in spring. But now we see some of the bans coming in from CLG to try to make it a little bit easier for Jenkins in this top lane. The Tryndamere, it was banned pretty early last time around, but they still banned it here in the 2nd round. I'm really curious to see if they try to take away that Kayle.
I feel like they kind of have to, right? We've only really seen Kumo have a lot of success on Tryndamere and Kayle with any consistency, right? He's had a couple of good games on the Gnar thus far, but if you remove a lot of the champions that he can play effectively, it feels like it gives a lot of power over to CLG. But instead, as the Akali ban comes through, taking away with something that Spyrex has had plenty of opportunities to pop off on, and setting up a little bit more opportunities for triple. I actually, now that I say that, I'm a little bit surprised about it, because we haven't really seen Yuji play Taliyah at all, and it definitely feels like much more of a Spyrex champion already.
It really does feel like that. That's where it's going to be flexed around to, and we're even seeing some bans, which could still indicate that Yuji might play it. I was about to say, Azir is a good pick here, as well as if you want to go for the Cork, you just have the handshake mid lane, the old-fashioned style that we saw in spring. That is still left open.
Yeah, just give me an old-fashioned. It's what I always say whenever I go out by myself with some friends, but it is the Corki that they are going to be picking up for themselves right here. It is something that has a lot of power, and while some players and some people keep talking about the fact that Corki is useless on 12-13, I'm pretty convinced that this champion, like the nerfs it actually received on this patch, don't matter hardly at all. You still do almost all the same things, and while it does change your build a little bit, the Ravenous Hydra becomes much more important than it used to be on your build. It still gives Triple a lot of agency in these upcoming fights.
Yeah, and whoa! Okay, never mind. I was about to say, and you know, Spyrex has played really well on Azir, so having this kind of back to the roots, back to spring meta that we see from them, there is a lot of potential. But they lock in the brothers.
That's absolutely wild. I was not expecting this to be the game where we start seeing some wild stuff come through. We already see the Yone and the Yasuo picked up right now for FlyQuest. I don't believe this is something we've been seeing either of these players really play, right? Kumo has a couple of games, but Kevin's going to be going to the Zed. Let's go!
You get the brothers.
Fun day.
You get Zed. Is it for fun? I feel like this is. I feel like this is just a good pick.
You're gonna have to fight me on that one, because Zed clears very fast, but if you don't get off the ground relatively early on, you don't do a whole lot. So this is definitely Kevy saying, yeah, let's have some fun. Just trust me. I was the big carrier on my teams when I was over in LCS when I started playing. You gave me a lot of farm, you gave me a lot of resources, and I was able to carry the game. And so now that's what they're doing. They don't have a lot of priority necessarily coming in from Triple. Jenkins will be able to fight for it, but it's 100% on Kevy to try and make his own plays a lot in this game and really read where UG is going to be going. You got the Yasuo, you got the Yone, you got the Zed jungle all coming out at the same time. I know at this point Mark is very sad that he's not feeling well.
Yeah, hearts out to Mark again. Everyone say to Mark on Twitter or something, just say, Rafa, we hope you feel better. We're all hoping that he gets better soon, especially with Proving Grounds right around the corner, but I'm sure he'll be fine by the end of the weekend. But in this game, Zed picked up for Kevy. You know, I said that I kind of like this. I actually think that this is a good pick here because it's against that Talia. And you talked about how you kind of need to get a snowball rolling early into the game. Well, Talia's a very fast clear. Same with Zed. They both have this potential to meet up early. And if Zed's playing this right, you can always try to punish Yuji and punish the side lane. But we only can find that out one way, Josh. And that is by getting into our second game of our best of two. And with everything on the line, we're seeding between these two teams. One decides to go with Yasuo and Yone, the two brothers of lore, and the other decides to get that Zed jungle for Kevy.
Yeah, it's even a lore pairing too, right? You know, Yasuo and Yone and the cinematic where they started working together against the Azakana demon, the demonic embrace, right?
Yep.
But also, Yasuo is Talia Sensei. There's a lot of lore coming through on this side, and they're all teaming up to take down Zed.
I forgot about that one. That's a good point. And we even had a little bit of lore thing last game with Viego versus Gwen.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
The Ruined King.
Yeah. But it wasn't as interesting as this one.
Not as interesting, right? This time we are definitely leaning into it a little bit more. Now, I'm very interested in how these fights are going to be going, right? Because it is going to be very explosive. Right. You got a lot of melee champions that do a lot of bursts that are just trying to hit each other very hard. And so... What?
So how many kills do you think we'll get this game?
Not enough.
But there's Zed, Yone, Yasuo?
True. I mean, if we don't have 2 kills a minute, it's not enough.
Okay, got it. Sounds good. And how long do you expect the game to go?
Probably like 25 minutes.
That fast?
I'm hoping we can get at least 50 kills.
Okay. But that fast? Really? 25 minutes? I'm hoping it's longer than that.
This game's going to snowball one way or the other very quickly.
Okay, you got a good point. When you have Zed, when you have Yone... Well, even though Yone and Yasuo, it's usually that one item spike where we really see their power, they're still pretty deadly when they can get snowballs. We see a little bit of a trade in top lane. Jenkins versus Kumo. Kumo getting the better end of most of missing that one Tempest Steel, so he does not actually get the Tornado afterwards.
And yeah, looking a little bit more at the actual play rates, right? We have seen this played a couple of times by Kumo. This is going to be his 4th Yone game, and Spyrex has actually played 2 other Yasuo games thus far, so it's not completely ridiculous that these are coming out. Nope. It's just very rare that you see them as a combination. So the big thing that we're going to be looking at between these two characters is how Kumo can set up the ultimates for Spyrex. It's the big ore combo.
I like that ward placed down from Kumo because he expects to have that wave frozen right outside of Third Aggro against Jenkins. It also means that Yuji now has a bit of power, but wait, no, Yuji smote it away.
Yuji just walks over, he clears on his bottom side, and he just comes and takes away the red buff that is trying to take away the Krugs.
That's brutal for Kevy. As Zed jungle, you really need that red buff because if you look at what the team provides, there's not very much lane assist outside of the bot lane.
Yeah, and already pushed out of his jungle by the Taliyah. Great read coming in from Yuji. He knows he had the priority in the mid lane. Both Kumo and Spyrex could move first. Taking away the red buff really limits Kevy's ability to go for these ganks if he's still trying to find an opportunity to find his way in.
There, as you can see that the wave bounces back to Kumo. They got the play with the lane priority initially. Same with mid lane. Spyrex has that control as you had called out. But even bot lane, Domo and Diamond have had good control over Meech and Breezy. Where Breezy normally on this Nautilus we see try to get out of lane really early on. Try to make a play, especially in mid lane, to set up someone like Triple or even tag team with Kevy because you need that lane assistance if you're Zed.
And immediately as CLG, they're going to be recalling all of their lanes the next time that FlyQuest will be pushing out. So FlyQuest will be able to get priority in every single lane as Kevy tries to look for his next play, but they do need to be careful because when you have priority, it also means you can be extended. It does allow you to be ganked.
And with the Zed on the other side, he likes having those lanes where you're a little bit over saying you're welcome, just stepping out a little bit too far. Mid lane, not that way anymore. Triple is getting some levels, and when you get more levels as Gorky, especially level 6, that's when you take full control of the lane.
Kevy coming through. This is going to be a pressure gank.
That was nice using the wind wall there to deny that shuriken. Still, it is going to be the push back in, so Spyrex farming underneath the wave, and as you called out, resets for CLG.
You also see that even though Kevy is doing a good job taking away this camp, Yuji is just outpacing him on the other side, also taking away the Raptors. So Kevy not actually finding an advantage just quite yet. He gets a little bit of money off of his first strike, but now he needs to continue finding this farm. He needs to start looking for kind of crazy plays in order to overtake what Yuji has already been able to build up for himself.
Yuji, we talked about it before, how well he's been able to control junglers. And going up against someone like Kevy, who's been a controlled jungler himself, finding these angles to make sure he sets up his lanes at every point. Someone does get pulled back in, but I don't expect him to die. He is underneath the turret. Takes a lot of damage. I don't know if they wanted to die for it.
Bit dangerous to actually go for the dive, but they do get the heal in exchange for the ignite.
But a good trade. At least it's some for some.
And Tomo does need to be careful, right, for how well he's been playing the past couple of games and the way that he's been playing this week. That is still the #1 thing in the back of my mind. Is he going to get caught out? Is he going to be too far forward? And even though he doesn't go down, he's lost enough HP that it feels as though CLG are going to be the ones starting up the dragon.
Yeah, and this right now, I'm just looking at how these plays are. Tomo is going to be a good angle for someone like Kevy to take, as we get a nice cinematic of the dragon take from from Nautilus and from Zed.
It's always so funny watching animations from angles that they weren't initially intended to be watched.
Oh, I know, right?
Right? Because just like Zed goes through it, it's such an impractical weapon, right? The giant blades attached to his arms, like that can't be particularly comfortable because it's not like. I think I want to say they're like Near East, like Indian, Middle Eastern blades where you hold them with like the bars in your fist and you basically punch with them. No, these are attached to like his forearms, right? Like you don't get any leverage from that. It just like slides back until it hits your elbow.
I mean, that's just how champions in games, the models work. Have you ever seen Darius when he goes for his ult? Oh, his arms are all stretched out because they're trying to make it look more impactful from the top down.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I know there's an animation term for it, like when you get the really elongated pieces in order to make the rest of the animation feel a bit more smooth, but it looks very funny when you freeze frame it. And now, CLG, they do have Kevy here, but he's just trying to recover some of his own Raptors.
Yuji's on those Raptors again. That was taken away earlier, and a good smite from Yuji secures that, so Kevy does not get any chicken nuggets.
Poor Kevy. We also got a Sorry, as I'm catching up a little bit on our production chat, making sure I see everything. Kelsey Moser also reminded us that we have Wither Mangas, we have Wither Mangoes, it's also Wither Mongoose. So.
Oh, I forgot about Mongoose.
There we go. It was a good one.
What?
Wither Mangus will have his return, but so far, I'm actually shocked. It is 8 minutes in and we are 16 kills behind schedule.
Yeah, I was about to say, we haven't seen any kills. It's not for lack of trying, but just the fact that these teams are playing a little bit more methodically.
Yeah, and Kevy only level 5 still, right? Enough of his camps have been taken away. He's a decently fast clearer, but enough camps have been picked up by Yuji, including the red buff and a couple of these Raptors, that he's just now hitting level 6. And so, oftentimes we look at characters like Twisted Fate, for their first ultimate needing to be impactful, right? The Nocturne's the same way. But now Kevy, he's getting threatened to get outscaled. This is a character that really needs to take these skirmishes, and he's already coming.
But look at the flank from Jenkins as the Rift Herald was started by Yuji and Kumo. Tries to dive into the backline. They've got the knockup, but now he's up in the Twilight Mount, and he's trying to get that mark onto Yuji, but unfortunately does not get enough damage. I don't even know what I was saying there. I was just so baffled.
The Rift Herald gets picked up by FlyQuest, but they haven't been able to grab the eye. They're moving in.
That's going to be Diamond securing it for the team with the knockup as well. With Kevy being so low, it's risky. Breezy might have to flash over the wall to be able to survive, and he does so with Diamond securing the eye for the team.
Nobody dying, but we also get to saw glimpses of what we will be seeing a bit later on, right? Kumo landing the ult and Spyrex immediately jumping on top of it, almost immediately taking Kevy out of the fight. So he tries to get it onto Yuji, but there's nothing left for him to do. He doesn't have the damage. The exhaust was also there, and so FlyQuest coming out ahead with the Rift Herald.
But still no kills.
Still no kills.
That's insane to me, as Spyrex does get a lot of damage onto triple underneath the turret. It's still both members, everybody on the map, just surviving through it all.
And so, you know, we're still waiting for our first real fight. Kevy's first ultimate not meaning a whole lot, not able to find that first advantage, and not willing to commit for this play.
And Kevy was still without that death mark. Can't really help out because it's hard for him to chase down. I talked before, but when you have a Zed, you kind of need that lane assistance. It's kind of like what we see with Graves, where if you have someone who can help out in the lane ganks, that's going to really set up your essential carry in the jungle of being Zed.
Yeah, there's definitely a character kind of like Nidalee that relies very heavily on crowd control being brought from the lanes, but there's not a lot of crowd control on this CLG roster. It's almost entirely concentrated on Breezy. You've got a couple slows
and
here
Meech
and there.
too, to a degree.
Yeah, you know, sometimes he will have a route that he can use, but that's kind of it, right? CLG really need to rely on outplaying their opponents and trying to dodge all of these abilities. And I mean, while Kevy was that player in the LCO, this isn't Kansas anymore. Actually, the problem might be that it is Kansas or California.
How is it
analogy
Kansas?
Doesn't really work.
No, not at all. How is this even remotely like Kansas?
But it's a reference, Alex.
And references usually have at least some meaning within the context of what's going on, and right now...
No, he's not where he started.
Well, we got a little bit of a fight from Spyrex on a triple. Nice package to cut off the fight, and so you can see Kevy. Yuji's marked, he's low, and giving first blood to Kevy. There's the strike.
Okay, Spyrex still looking for his way in, though. Has the knockup available, not going to land it.
Triple was able to get away from that one. Well done, and with that kill, secured by Kevy. Using the mark, he's got control around this bottom quadrant of the map. Even if there's a lot of control wards that have been placed down by FlyQuest, it's really easy to call up Meech and Breezy to look for that triple. It's dove. Oh, man, Spyrex. That got risky.
Playing with fire a little bit, trying to push triple out. Will end up getting the flash and surviving. FlyQuest, though, was not able to pick up this dragon. His diamond goes in anyway.
Gets the knock up onto Breezy. The rest of the team is actually bailing. He's got the gobble right into Choppers. Breezy, like, how did I get here? Where did I go? I'm caught in that Joe Tomio. Tomo takes the kill.
Good stuff. I love watching the good play from Palmcanch, eating people out of these dashes. And also, you know, as soon as Tomo threw down the traps, Diamond just spits them right on top. No opportunity for Breeze to get anything done. And he still has the Rift Herald.
Has that Rift Herald they can pop? Yuji right behind, but so is Triple. Nearby, no one wanting to commit for too much at the moment, since despite the fact we expected a bloodbath between the two teams, still only one apiece.
Yeah. Again, 22 kills behind schedule, you guys. I think we can work up that quota a little bit, but as we take another look at a couple of these plays, Triple, he's trying to hold on for this package as long as possible until Kevy's actually able to get there. And I feel like he wanted to knock Yuji the other way, but still, enough damage goes down that Kevy will be able to pick it up. But this play is the one I'm really impressed with, right? Diamond looking for these exit frags as people try and leave. He will be able to pick up Breezy. And just that ability to understand that CLG are already leaving and that they aren't going to turn back to help this guy because Yuji's already waiting in the wings is just fantastic awareness.
And now we have a bit of a skirmish, potentially, in the bot lane. Not actually. Diamond and Yuji were able to disengage pretty well. Almost nowhere to be seen, so a thwarted dive, a thwarted gank again. No blood taking place, only a little bit as we get mid lane. Oh wait, Rocket. Nice cancel. It's a good cancel, but look at mid lane. Spyrex is able to get a plate for himself.
Spyrex does grab that. There's a small lead still going over to FlyQuest, but their composition really should be coming online relatively soon as first items will start to get completed. As we take a look at the goal. Wait, bring it back up.
There we go.
Yeah. I guess, like, the lead is bottom lane, right? It's, like, 300 for Tomo and, like, 400 for Diamond. It's not just the assist. Oh, it's the Rift Herald.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the Rift Herald. Yeah, it's the plate.
Yeah.
That's where you really get the gold, but it's not that big of a lead by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, granted, we are still only 14 minutes into the game. Last game, we had a lot more chaos, even though the draft would kind of speak that this should be the chaotic game. But we're seeing that both teams are relatively even. 2 dragons to the name of CLG Academy, which kind of makes up for that gold deficit.
As another turret goes down, the gold grows a little bit, particularly for Tomo and Diamond, right? They have been doing a fantastic time laning so far at Region Breezy.
It's also what we kind of expected when you have Nautilus. If you can get a Tom Kench Jinx, really safe, hard to punish, unless they really make egregious plays, and that's how Tomo and Diamond have been. You ask for better positioning. Tomo, I think this week, has looked like that bot lane with cheat codes that we saw for so long. Back in spring, where him and Diamond were pretty much untouchable and were the big reasons why they're able to pick up victories. And now, a little bit of a skirmish in the mid lane. Going to be able to have the death mark, but nice gobble from Diamond to save Spyrex, so no mark pop to do any damage.
I mean, that's good stuff coming through from Diamond, right? Yesterday, a number of times he would save Tomo and Spyrex from near certain doom when this Tom Kench was absolutely ridiculous. He's doing it once again. And just as you called out, Magical, it's definitely feeling like the Tomo and Diamond that was on Cloud9 Academy, that was on the FlyQuest Academy, that was playing LCS for a good chunk of the season. And now, they want to try and take control. They already got the first Rift Herald. They want the second.
We got a lot of damage onto Diamond. Goes golden with 2 TPs answered. A bit of a fight. It's going to be Kumo there first, getting a lot of damage onto Kevy. Trying to save his life as Jenkins, but they can't. He's bounced around, so they pick up the kill, and now they got the root onto Spyrex and onto the backline onto Kumo. They take down one. One brother is gone, but it's a trade. It's a double kill, favoring the other brother, Kumo. Will make sure that he is out of there, and Tomo defends everyone else.
And we're starting to see a little bit more blood, right? The combo comes through again. This time it's only on to Breezy, but FlyQuest will walk away with the Rift Herald. 35 seconds left until the dragon spawns. FlyQuest, they will be back on the map in time to try and turn things around. But watch Diamond's stopwatch here.
Right as the root was coming down.
Great stuff, right? Able to dodge everything out, and then Kumo getting right on top of Kevy, who still doesn't have his death mark. There's not a whole lot that the Zed does without the ultimate. And FlyQuest, you know, they overextend a little bit here. Tomo's not really able to hit, and Kumo and Spyrex go a little bit too far forward. But that's what you gotta do on these characters. You just gotta go for it. You gotta try and make these plays. And Triple now has his package. It's his turn.
It's also pretty important to note that we're getting those item spikes for FlyQuest with the package coming in from Triple. Just got off the fight for a little bit. Diamond will be able to, not Diamond, Kumo will be able to pick up the kill on Breezy while he also saves Yuji on the other side. With the dragon up, CLG, they don't want to relent this. This could be soul point potential for them. Rift Herald is popped in mid lane, and with how low this dragon's already getting, the Weaver's Wall comes in to try to make sure they cannot escape from this pit. They are locked in for the time being. There's Heavy on the other side, looking for the skirmish, trying to see if he can take out the defender of the team. Diamond is gone, it's great, and now Kumo is going to be the one they jump on instead. Kevy's the first to fall. The dragon was secured by Jenkins, but all hell is broken loose for CLG as FlyQuest pick up a kill and make it 3 for themselves.
A double kill coming through, and another clutch stopwatch means that FlyQuest firmly in control, but now they have to fight for every single one of these dragons. And FlyQuest, they pick up the mid lane turret, the gold lead continues to grow. 3 dragons is a lot, but you gotta get the 4th one to make it all worth it, right? And as Kumo comes back in, only catching one person, the Yasuo Yone ultimates, the combos haven't been quite as impressive, but their ability to just get in and continue taking the fight afterward has made it all worth it.
Hey, I'll give him credit. The death mark was on top of him from Kevy, and he used that to buffer so that there wasn't that much damage put on him by Kevy.
That's fair, right? He gets some damage down, doesn't go down at all, and Kevy, I mean, we were saying the Zed really needed to have some impact early on in the game. The Zed doesn't do a whole lot unless it starts snowballing, and unfortunately for Kevy, he's getting snowballed on, right? He's not having the damage and make anything happen, and, well, he farms fast. That's not something you want your Zed to be doing. It's like, great, we talked about this yesterday. You can have all the gold in the world. I'm trying to remember who I was talking about, who had so much money. Takeover, I think it was, doing so well farming, but he never found his way into the fights.
See how the gold stands. Only mid lane really even. Everything else is favored towards FlyQuest, getting a lot of lead, especially if you look at Jinx. Tomo, really looking great on these traditional marksmen, these hyper-scaling champions. These were the old styles that he used to be so dominant when he was on Cloud9 Academy, when he had his stint in the LCS.
Looking pretty good on it this week, as well as Diamond checks for Kevy, pushes him out. Okay. At least one of these guys is probably dead.
Well, let's see right now. With the dive attempted, they got the knockup coming in from that depth charge. Diamond is so good at protecting his teammates, making sure that they take no damage. And since it's Tom Kent, he'll be able to heal most of that damage back up.
He's also just being like the dad, right? No, we're not doing this dive right now. You are too far. You are out of line. Get back out from underneath the turret. Let's play the pressure instead. And now we're going to be picking up the top lane turret. Jenkins on the far side, though, we'll try and match it in the bottom lane, but this turret's too healthy.
It is, but it's also a Gwen. Gwen can take down turrets pretty quickly, if I recall.
I mean, she's not slow by any means, but it's almost an entire turret. She might actually
be
able to get it. Yeah, Kumo's already leaving, right? A little bit slow on the recall as the entire structure will go down. Well done for Jenkins and FlyQuest instead, turning their attention towards the rest of the map.
FlyQuest especially are looking to see if they can gain control back of this bottom quadrant of the map. As we talked about before, they have to fight tooth and nail for these dragons, because Ocean Soul could be picked up for CLG. Maybe not the strongest, maybe not exactly the one they would want, but it will help out Triple as they get into this mid game, maybe even more towards the mid to late game, where they try to utilize poke over dive.
Yeah, and there will be a package available for Triple. Now, he had one pretty good package, and he had one package that got Zonia'd out or stopwatched by Yuji. And just as we've been seeing so much, the Tom Kent doing so much work here for FlyQuest, it makes it very difficult to isolate individual targets for CLG. And as the pressure starts to mount from FlyQuest, they get a ton of priority here in the mid lane. It makes it very difficult for CLG to
root onto Tomo, takes a lot of damage. Moonlight Vigil will even get more as the heal was popped by Tomo. Looked like it could have been a bit more, but with so many members of FlyQuest around, including Diamond to save Tomo, they didn't want to risk diving them and try to get caught out.
CLG had more money. That could have been a catch, or at least forcing out the ultimate. Instead, they just get the locket. We wait for the next dragon to spawn as well. Watch how Triple will end up playing the next fight and his ability to move around.
Look at Jenkins, though. The flash away from Tomo. Nice read. He even got pulled back in temporarily, but the flash was there. And there's going to be the death mark and what we called the Devour on top. Massive shield for Tomo. So they turn their attention instead onto Yuji. And without a smite and only 38 seconds left, they could possibly set up for a dragon.
CLG, they pick up the jungler right before the Ocean Soul is going to be spawning. It is Talia. She can move very quickly. Her ultimate traverses a huge portion of the map, but they're preventing Triple from... That was just spiteful. Tomo. He's going to be able to... He has teleport. You have to stop him again for this to be worthwhile. Triple will be able to back away and pick up the package, but CLG...
Yeah, they stopped this back completely, yeah. So with 10 seconds remaining... Even if they have Jenkins on the side lane starting to get some of the waves pushed back in, they're going to be a little bit late on the call towards Dragon.
It's not the end of the world for CLG if they don't get this dragon, but it is pretty disastrous for FlyQuest. The ultimate from FLYA is already used. FlyQuest are taking control, not allowing CLG to come in. And CLG, Heavy does not have his ultimates.
Place down, here's Triple. They want to use it in the pit. It's going to be smite secured by Yuji, but still no package used just yet. The knockback coming in onto Breezy as they try to see if they can survive. Jenkins doing his best to peel back with the Spider-Man away from Breezy. Somehow nobody dies in this fight yet. But there's still the possibility with that package up for Triple. They look for something.
Triple, the package now will not be up for the next dragon, right? The longer he waits with it, the longer it goes unused, the worse it's going to be for the next play. As the mid lane turret does go down, Triple will finally use the package?
Please?
Or will it time out?
I'm not sure. I would expect them to have used it by now. Maybe just going to use that to get the distance. There it is. Up in the top lane. But it is the timers is well off for that next dragon. And even though you could argue that CLG doesn't need to fight for that next dragon because they still have 3 dragons, just the one of FlyQuest, this is a composition that we can see has struggles here. 2 items getting completed across the board, nearly getting hit by that rocket. There's some good scaling on FlyQuest while we look at CLG, and they got Corky, they've got Gwen.
Oh, they got Kumo.
Or do they? Kumo's got shields. He's got damage. With the deathmark, there it is. Shut down for Jenkins. That's the money they need.
And the Baron, not getting started up. Okay, so I want to go back and start looking at why we're talking about the package so much. We'll wait for Diamond.
Oh, gets knocked up. And there's Chomper to make sure there's no escape with the TP behind them. Breezy takes a lot of the damage, but he's still alive. Jenkins had to go golden immediately, but they got the Devour out. So they could see if they want to turn for this backline. They're getting a lot of damage onto Diamond. Barely surviving. Thick skin should be enough to keep him alive as well. The rest of the team looks for the push back onto Heavy. That wombo combo. Sensei and Student take down Zed.
Big plays coming through from FlyQuest, right? Diamond locked out of the thick skin, not able to get the shield, getting out with 100 HP, but just as you called out, already healing up so much of that damage. He's so much stronger at this point than you would previously expect him to be. And as they start setting up for this upcoming Baron buff, FlyQuest, they have 5 members on the board. Heavy is still dead.
TP from Triple, looking to defend this as best they can. They've spotted out that it has been started, but with that control ward, it mitigates them knowing the precise timings. So they got to see if they can get into the pit sooner rather than later. Spyrex was able to get a nice wind wall up to block any more missiles, so they secure the objective, and even if Ghost was popped from Jenkins, they have to retreat.
And so now FlyQuest, they've gotten most of the things they're looking for, right? They put the Ocean Soul back 5 minutes by picking up the last dragon. They picked up the Baron by picking up Heavy and transitioning that into a larger lead. FlyQuest have the tools that they need. The one thing that they're worried about, though, is Triple on this Corky. But they have a couple of things going in their favor. One, Triple only level 13, still a ways out from trying to grab that level 16, the huge increase in damage on the rockets. And 2, while Triple was doing so well with the package earlier, we missed out on a crucial thing. And so what you're looking at, for everybody who's watching, Corky package has a couple of very simple rules. One, if it's less than 30 seconds before the next objective that you're trying to fight over, you want to pick it up. But if you're trying to sync it up with the dragon timers, you have to use the Corky package before the dragon dies. And because Triple used the package about 30 seconds after the dragon was dead, he will not have it for 30 seconds until after the dragon spawns, and that forces CLG to try and play a lot more defense around the upcoming Ocean Soul. They have to take a lot of space in order to buy time for Triple to actually come back into the fight. And as we see these turrets go down, Breezy barely dodging out from the rocket. CLG are losing so much space that it makes it so difficult to even get to the dragon in the first place.
I was about to say, how do they even get out of the base at this point? This is where it seems difficult. They have no way to create space, and now Triple nearly gets caught out by Kumo, who's level 16, the highest level in this game. With the flank from Jenkins, he might be 2-0, but he's got to survive all this damage coming in from Kumo and the rest of the gang with a lot of damage that he healed up with that needlework. But Spyrex, he's got to make sure that he is getting that damage on the other side. If he can re-engage this fight, it'll help out FlyQuest, but CLG do mitigate any losses at all.
And FlyQuest, they are able to walk away from that Triple, still poking around, trying to find his way back into the fight, but we're seeing how weak Heavy currently is in a lot of these fights, right? He jumps onto Spyrex, who does have the exhaust, but Heavy not really doing more than half of Spyrex's health in that last duel. It's so difficult for him to find targets because Spyrex has the exhaust, Yuji has his Zodias, Tomo has Diamond, and as long as Diamond is standing on top of his AD carry, the only person left is Kumo. Kumo's got a stopwatch already. He's got an Immortal Shield Bow. It's so difficult for Kevin to find any targets left. This is why he needed to snowball.
Plus, you've got 2 IEs out of the 2 brothers. Going to be really difficult to deal with any of them. This is why we see that FlyQuest simply get the Dragon with no contest out of CLG, because they can't fight. They know that they are struggling at the moment, and without package as well, they're pretty much just waiting. They're probably not even going to pick it up until the next Dragon's looking to spawn.
Yeah, and so one of the things I'd love to see from FlyQuest is something that I'm sure Diamond has been calling out is one of the most intelligent, one of the most process-oriented players I've seen. He's calling out, we need to create pressure, we need to make CLG feel as though they need to grab the package to even survive.
Oh, Triple's Valkyrie got denied. He did it a little too early, so he got knocked back by Weaver's Wall. This should open up the game for FlyQuest to take. They're already pushing in, knocking at the door. Might want to hand the death to members like Kevi. Even with the mark, it was not enough to survive his own death. With the rest of the members of CLG completely bailing, 2 inhibitors falling nearly simultaneously, and the minions are already pouring into the base. FlyQuest, this game, it might have been slow, it might have been methodical from both teams, but eventually they found the leads. They got themselves advantages, utilizing every last member on the squad so they can pick up games, they can pick up wins, and they will end week 7 6-0, padding the KDAs the entire time as well to show their dominance, their resurgence back into the split. That this is a team, when it comes to Proving Grounds, you have to consider as the top. But even there, Triple tried to go into the backline, but we all knew what the result was. FlyQuest, not only a 2-0, but that 6-0.
And there you go, like you said, FlyQuest 6-0 in Week 7, looking fantastic. Their pressure across the board, people aren't getting caught out. And Kumo with this renewed aggression, something we haven't been seeing from this player for months and months at this point. Really all coming together right at the right moment for FlyQuest to look for opportunities to push deep into Proving Grounds. They're taking down all comers, they're taking down everybody else who's in the middle of the pack, and now all they need to do is hope that Dignitas drops a single game in order to secure the 4th seed going into Proving.
Yeah, simply one game. That's all that matters. And then FlyQuest, the team that was barely competing for that final slot, that were struggling. And a lot, including myself, kind of looked at how this week would go. And if it was anything like the previous weeks, it was looking dire for them. But they come out swinging a 6-0 to cement their spot as well as contend for a higher seed. It's well done from FlyQuest Academy. We're going to toss it to a break, and when we come back, we'll have an interview with our host, Kangas, so make sure you stay tuned.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back for our post-series interview with the one and only Yuji from FlyQuest Academy, who just completed the perfect Super Week. 6-0 in the last week of the Academy regular season. So, Yuji, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it feels good after losing so many games and going 6-0 at the end.
So, what was the switch? Why do you think the team was able to clutch out such an insanely impressive end of the split?
I think during the middle of the season, our bot lane got COVID and they were sick. And they are mostly playing from home. I think that was like one of the reasons. And I think after that, we just like all started playing bad. And yeah, I think that's it, I think.
So you felt like them being sick and playing remote, it wasn't just that week or those 2 weeks when they were playing remote, but afterwards you felt like you were a little behind maybe?
Oh yeah, I felt like that too. And I think their throat was like not that good, and we weren't like that talking a lot that much.
How much is there a difference now, and also kind of who's leading that charge? Because obviously, the performance is increasing. Does that mean that the team's talking more?
Yeah, I think we are all talking a lot lately, like everyone. And I would say Tomo is kind of stepping up in the comms, and he usually doesn't like talk that much, but lately he's like talking a lot and calling for stuff.
Well, it's definitely working, as this fantastic end of the split means that there's a chance you can make top 4 regular season standings, which is great for your seeding going into Proving Grounds. But speaking of Proving Grounds, you also had a very deep run into Proving Grounds last spring. So I want to get your thoughts. What do you think is maybe different about the FlyQuest Academy of this summer in Proving Grounds compared to when we saw you in the spring?
I think right now we are just like way better, and I guess I would say I'm more experienced. I remember like playing against Immortals. They just late invaded me like 2 times in a row, and game just boomed from level 1. I think something like that like wouldn't happen right now.
So you'll chalk it up to Chad. Chad gave you the most lessons.
Yeah, he actually gave me the lessons.
Hey, his style is very different. But that's cool to see your development. But I'm curious to get to know you a little bit more and some of the other pros that you look up to, because I noticed on Twitter that Tomo tweeted out a picture of you wearing a Canyon jersey. First off, I'm gonna assume the answer, but are you a Canyon fan?
Yeah, I'm a Canyon fan. Yeah.
Would you say that he was inspirational to you in your own jungle performance, or do you just like him as a player?
Yeah, when I started playing jungle, I watched Canyon a lot. I think I mostly watched Canyon and SOFM. I think they helped me a lot, I think.
Are there any other junglers that are influential to you as well?
Not really. I mostly like watched 2 of those.
Okay. So Canyon, SOFM, and Chad, if we're adding, maybe a third name to that list.
No, not Chad.
No, not Chad. All right. We'll take him off then. Any final message that you have for any of the fans out there or anybody watching, Yuji?
I think thank you guys all for supporting us, and I think we can be a good team in Proving Grounds. Yeah, that's it.
All right, keep cheering them on, everybody, and congratulations for the perfect Super Week. 6-0 is very impressive, and best of luck going into preparation for Proving Grounds.
Thank you.
All right, we'll bring back on our casters now to get into